it's just one of those things where like he never forgot where he came from, and like that's I think
Hmm.
that's why people respect him so much. And also he's still friends with all these people. He employed his friends like like all the comic book men guys. They were his
Yes.
friends, and they were like extras in his movies. Like in Dogma, they're pretty much all there. Even Q from Impractical Jokers
Yeah.
is a friend of his and was in he was in Dogma in the airport, and he's in a couple. He like shows up in a couple of other movies too,
Hmm.
and it's similar to Adam Sandler, and even like you could say what you will about Adam Sandler's movies being funny or not funny. I think the movies that we as adults have now who grew up with Adam Sandler's original movies that are comedy gold in our eyes,
Hmm.
not all of them have really aged that well, but they're
No.
but I still find them funny because
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
mostly from a nostalgia factor. But anyway, like his movies now, like they're more for kids. Like he's made like he has younger children, or he had, or like he or he at least had younger children when he started making them in the style that he's made them now, where like
Yeah.
they're like hulkier and like more goofier and more family oriented, and like sure
Yeah.
there's like potty humor and stuff, but that's what kids laugh at, and like in the
Yeah.
age
Yeah.
range that he's targeting. So it's not that he's not funny. He is like every once in a while he makes a movie like for his initial audience. Like you'll get it like every once in a while you'll get a Don't Mess with the Zohan, which is really funny. Or he
Yeah.
did a stand-up special a few years ago, 100% Fresh, that was hilarious. Like Adam Sandler's smart because he knows which audience he's going for, and he makes the movie that's going to have the humor for that audience. So he's really smart in it. And also like Uncut Gems was a drama, and it was really good. I think the plot, like I think some of it in the plot was a little convoluted, and it was a little too
Hmm.
fast paced for me in some at some times, but it was a good movie. The acting was like his performance was really good.
Yeah.
But like the connection that I'm trying to make here is like Adam Sandler, Kevin Smith puts his friends in the movie. Kevin Smith,
Yes.
like Adam Sandler he puts all of his friends in the movies. His buddies from SNL, his buddies who are just production people. His
Yeah.
Tim Hurley, who like him and Chris Farley made the infamous Hurley Boys sketch, which is hilarious.
Hmm.
He was a writer on SNL, and that's like one of his top writers, if not his head writer. Adam Sandler is this guy Tim Hurley, who he like, dude, you helped make me who I am. Let me give you a job. It's also like The Rock. Brian Gewirtz was one of the writers for WWE who worked heavily with The Rock and like Jericho and and a lot of the guys in the Attitude Era, and who like helped them with their who like helped them develop their characters and everything, and wrote stuff with them and like really worked with them. And he works for The Rock now with his $7 Productions. So like a
Hmm.
lot of these guys who are well respected and well liked, they're nice guys. They're not, they don't forget where they came from, no matter how much money they have, and
Yeah.
they still give back to people, and they bring their buddies along for the ride. Like there's an Irish creed that I like to live by too if I can. It doesn't always happen, but my belief is like it's like it's just jobs for the boys. That's essentially just
Hmm.
that's the Irish phrase, jobs for the boys, which just means, you know, you take care of your friends. If your friends
Yeah.
need, if your friends need a job, try to get them a job in your company, or try to get them a job with you. Because
Yeah.
one, it makes it less of a grind, and like you can at least make a couple of bright spots, and like you're still kind of hanging out, but you're also like doing work at the same time, and also, you know, it's loyalty, which that's very much into my core values.
Hmm.
Like if by the grace of God I end up, one day I end up becoming a multimillionaire or whatever. I have like a big company or whatever what is this like little pipe dream. I'm gonna try to make sure that as many friends as I can like work with me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like I would much rather hire a bunch of my friends, even if they don't know what they're doing. I'll teach them what they
Yeah.
need to do, or I'll hire somebody to or I'll hire somebody as a manager to
Well, it's better
teach my
when,
friends what the hell they need to do. I'm not gonna be
yeah,
I'm not gonna just, you know, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna look for, somebody's Harvard Ivy League qualifications or whatever. No, I don't know you. I'm gonna I'm gonna help my friends, especially if they're in dire need. I'm gonna make sure that I take care of them because that's what you do.
yeah. Well, and I think it's when you're working when you hire people that you've known your whole life, that are friends, you could trust them because you know them. You really know them. It's not like you're hiring some stranger where you have to interview them, and could be just some guy who's good at interviewing and just bullshits his way through, and then is not a good worker. When you hire someone that you know them, you could trust them to do a good job, and even if they don't know necessarily what they're doing right away, you could teach them, and you know that they'll learn.
Right. Right.
So I think that that really makes a difference there.
Right, and it speaks to their character too. Just
And
as people.
yeah, exactly. Kevin
And
Smith, when he made it, he could have said "fuck you" to all those people that he worked with on Clerks, and never talked to them again, and been a hot shot Hollywood dude with millions of dollars. But everyone would think he's a douchebag. So he did the right thing. He remembered, like you said, he remembered where he came from, and he was a good dude. He wasn't a Hollywood douchebag that made it and then became an asshole. He remembered all of his friends and always put them in his movies and stuff like that. And he's just a good dude overall. He's a good grew up in a small town and has those values.
Right. Right, and I mean,
So
you hear things. You hear things as to who, it doesn't matter. I'm not a famous guy, but you hear things on who's a nice guy and who's not a nice guy. I'll be
absolutely
going back to Adam Sandler. The only reason that Kevin James has a job is because Chris Farley's not alive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard from people that Kevin James is not necessarily a nice guy to his fans, and he's a hotshot full of himself. But there's Kevin Smith, who was, a good dude. He's still friends with everybody. He gave his friends jobs, whether they were running the comic book store, or they're doing parts in his movies, or they're doing their own thing now, thanks to him, or whatever. And then, you've got genuinely good people, and then but for every good person, there's now I don't know how true this is, but I heard this too, that that for every good person there's apparently a Jennifer Lopez. I've heard that Jennifer Lopez, when she was doing the Jenny from the Block music video, she tried to go back to her old neighborhood, and she never did anything for that neighborhood when she left. She got all highbrow and whatever, and the only person she took care of her was her mom, which I'll give you that. You take care of your mama no matter what. But she went back to supposedly she went back to the old neighborhood and was okay, I need to get people in here, and people threw rocks at her limo when they found out that she was coming through, so she couldn't shoot the video there. She had to go on a sound stage or whatever, and they had to recreate a suburban Bronx neighborhood or whatever, and it's it's because the whole song was about her saying how she didn't forget she remembered where she came from and how she knows where she came from, but it's not true. That's what I've heard. I don't I can't speak the truth of it. I'm not friends with J-Lo, nor do I expect to be at any point in my life.
Nobody knows what the future will bring.
No, I guess if we want to ask somebody in the View Askew, we could ask Ben Affleck about that. Who Kevin Smith basically discovered him and Matt Damon because he put them in Dogma, which Dogma is my favorite View Askew universe movie. And I'll get to why in a minute, but Kevin Smith cast them in Dogma, and he also brought Good Will Hunting to Harvey Weinstein and Miramax.
Yeah.
And he said, "Listen, I'll help." And I think he wrote the script too, or he helped revise, or he helped work on the screenplay. And I mean, you could see some of it in the dialogue in that movie.
Yeah.
And there's definitely an influence there, but like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were his boys,
Yeah.
and he basically discovered them and help like make like help like mold them and like get their foot in the door.
Yeah.
You know,
And they appear in a number of his movies.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is in almost everyone. I'm pretty sure he's in Mallrats. He's in
Chasing
Dogma.
Amy.
Obviously, he's in Chasing Amy. He's in Clerks 2.
Jay and Silent
His
Bob
appearance in
Strike
Clerks
Back.
2 is just a cameo, but he's in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
He's also in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. He makes like a very brief cameo, which for years they didn't. He's in Geely, which I think that was what started his relationship with Jennifer Lopez when they were together. And he's also so they didn't talk for a long time. Like they had a falling out, I think, after Geely or something like that, because it did not do well in the box office.
Yeah,
and I don't know. There were other things, but like they had a falling out at some point, and they didn't talk for like many years, and there was like a phone call or something like that. Like one of them reached out to the other, and they it's like somehow something happened, and they got to talking while Kevin Smith was shooting Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, or he was like about to shoot it or whatever it was. He was working on it in some capacity, and he was like, "Dude, like, please be in this. It wouldn't be complete without you to just still come in and do it." And he's in there for like a moment.
Yeah,
and it's and it was cool how they were able to reconcile, and I'm sure they're better friends to this day. I mean, also Ben Affleck had a lot of he's had a lot of like hard times. I only found this out recently, but one of the reasons why he had dropped out of doing the Batman movie that he was writing and directing and gonna act in too was he ended up relapsing into alcoholism, and I didn't know that he had been an alcoholic at any point in his life.
I didn't know about that.
I think he just kept it like I think he was like a closeted alcoholic for some time.
Yeah.
And so he's had his demons like many of us.
Yeah.
But it was cool that they were able to reconcile and get together. But he's in a lot of the movies, and Kevin Smith helped make him and Matt Damon's careers really into what they are, because Good Will Hunting ends up winning an Oscar.
Yeah,
several, like I believe it was several Oscars, but it's a really classic movie, and like Robin Williams is of course brilliant in that, and it really shows his range as an actor. It's one of the better movies that were made in the 90s, Right, was Good Will Hunting in the 90s or early 2000s?
No, it was the 90s.
I think it was like 97 or 99, somewhere between there. But
yes,
it's a really great movie. If you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you check it out.
I have not actually watched Good Will Hunting.
It's a beautiful film.
Yeah, I know it's a really it's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it.
It's often considered one of the greatest films ever made.
Yes, it is.
So it's definitely, I believe, in the top 100 on IMDb. So I do want to eventually check it out. I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah.